Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for joining us today. My name is Rashmita, and I'm the event planner for Microsoft Reactor India. This session will run over the next 60 minutes, including Q&A. But before we begin, please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We are all here to learn together, so please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat section will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. So please feel free to drop all your questions in the chat section. I would now like to welcome Dinesh, our speaker for today's session. Dinesh comes with 12 plus years of experience around data and cloud, deeply involved in implementing B2B SaaS products for big data and business intelligence. Currently working as a product manager for the analytics squad at Kissflow. But for now, I will hand over to Dinesh to begin the session. Let me bring him into the stream. There you go. Over to you, Dinesh.
Thank you, Rashmika. So hope my audio and video is fine, and also my screen
Y-
is properly visible. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So thanks everyone for taking your time for today's session. So I'll start right away. So today it's going to be like um, I hope pretty much all of you use or came aware of Microsoft Fabric. It's been released for over an year, and there have been many exciting updates that's been released in Microsoft Fabric from time to time. In that, one major thing which is like a pillar, like a magnet, and all other features have been built around this one lake, right? So once again, I have this privilege to share about how OneLake plays a predominant role in Microsoft Fabric and how it helps converting the data to insights. Right. So, yeah, of course, we all know what data lake is, and we have been in different data lakes in different clouds. It could be of Amazon S3 or Google Cloud Storage, or same in case of Azure Data Lake as well. But the problem of data lake is, of course, it is cheap storage, but the problem of data lake is, in a very big organization, more chances of data silos happens, like same copy or a related copy of data which is being present in multiple departments data lake storage, right? So that's where this one lake for data by Microsoft Fabric came into picture, where it became simply like a one place for organization to land all data, not only just structured data, but also semi-structured and unstructured data. You might be having a tabular form data in Azure SQL, or Azure or as a CSV files, or semi-structured data like JSON files or Azure Cosmos. If not, even photos or videos which are nothing but unstructured data, you can have all the data in one place. Next, this one lake definitely breaks down the data silos because it makes it easier to blend and analyze data together. For example, the data ingestion team, if they bring in a cleaned data into the system, the BI developer can also create a dashboard on top of the data. Likewise, a data scientist can also use the same copy of data in their notebooks, right? For machine learning or any model creation purpose. So it is going to be one copy of data which is being used by BI developer and also the data science team. Like it simply say, there is no zero copy of data, there is no more than one copy of data, it is always one single copy of data. That is what the theme of one lake for data. And of course, since this one copy of data, the security governance and all the data discovery all comes into place, into the picture with easiness. So reality is, analytics with data lake is like file sharing prior to OneDrive, right? So before OneDrive, if you imagine how the files are being shared is, there will be a big there will be a server where there will be different folders being created, and if that folder need to be shared to some other people, then the data will be copied to another location, so it automatically becomes multiple copies of data. Whereas once OneDrive came into picture, it is all about sharing same data via link, right? So it is just like that, sharing data via link. And also um, the same data can be created, the same folder or a file can be created as a shortcut in other places, like how we have shortcuts in our Windows machine. There will be one single copy of file, but we can have shortcuts of that file or of that software in anywhere, right? So that's what the same. So once again, to describe how the multiple silo data lake exists, there will be in any enterprise segment, there will be multiple departments, as you see here, as IT, sales, operations, and marketing. Each will be having their own data source, and there will be always the data movement will be happening, right? For example, sales team might be having new leads, likewise marketing team having a different set of leads. So for the synchronization, sales and marketing need team will be copying the leads data between themselves, likewise IT and operations too. Not just with the main database, but also individual person in sales department or IT department or say marketing department will have their own unique set of data, either as a CSV files or as their own individual databases. So that is again, so once again the silos happen there. And of course, between the main database and the intermittent database which they have within their department, the data movement will be happening. Not just that, data movement will be happening between the copy of copy data as well, right? So there will be main copy and there will be a sub copy, and this sub copy also will be copied between different departments. So such a kind of multiple silo data lakes creates a lot of duplication, that creates a lot of confusion as well. So for example, most of the cases, say, on top of same data source, two different departments will be bringing up with two different numbers. Let's say sales figure, sales department will be bringing up a different number, whereas marketing department will be bringing up a different number. It is all because of data duplication and data silos. And that's where OneLake for data comes into picture. So how OneLake works is, for any data in OneLake works with out of the box governance, where it is going to be one copy of data and all different services, as you see here, all different tools will be able to access the same copy of data uh, to do the respective operation. For example, Power BI, if it is used by business analyst, they use the same copy. Same way, Synapse Data Science, if the data science team is using the, then it will be again the same copy of data. So OneLake enables distributed ownership, but with the form of out of the box governance, right? So everybody will have the access to the data. Now what I mean by everybody is, everybody who are allowed to access the data will have access, but not as copies of data. It is going to be one single copy. Everybody will be able to access the data. Okay. And one more important thing in OneLake for data is, it is going to be serverless compute. Okay, so in our laptop, we usually do have memory to store the data, and memory, which is nothing but RAM, to process the data, right? So all the operations, for example, let us say I'm I'm having a Python notebook to clean up some data, right? So then the cleanup happens in my RAM space, right? Whereas my final copy or initial copy of data will be stored in the hard disk. Both of them are in my same laptop only, right? But the storage and compute happens differently. Likewise, when I was saying all this time, storage, it is going to be single copy of data. That data will be stored in OneLake. Okay, whenever this copy of data is being used by different services, the the process or the compute operation happens in separate compute between these different teams. Okay, so here it is marked as single compute, but in reality different departments can have different pricing tier in Fabric. They will be priced only for the compute which they are using for. Okay, so like this, there will be different services, and each of these different services can be used individually over the same copy of data, something like this. And how this how the data will be stored in OneLake, that is the next question, right? So what happens is, when you inject the data, or when you store a data into OneLake, what Microsoft Fabric does is, it will create another metadata layer in Parquet format, and which is operatable as Delta format, Delta tables. Okay, so Parquet is an open standard format, and it is the storage format for all tabular data in Fabric. This Parquet format doesn't apply to the unstructured data like images and videos. It is applicable only for the tabular data. Okay, so uh, since since the metadata is created as Parquet format, which is open standard, all these compute engines are made to work over the Parquet data format. For example, you might think, how come the SQL engine might be able to operate on top of the data, same data, which is possible by the KQL as well, because real-time intelligence and SQL data analysis, both the engines work separately, right? So what Microsoft Fabric does is, they have rewritten all the engines, like uh, the data warehouse, real-time intelligence, all these engines, so that all these engines are able to work on top of Parquet data format. Okay, so since the engines have been tweaked to work on top of Parquet data format, OneLake data is also been uh, made available as Parquet data format. So the data is available as Parquet. Engine is able to communicate over the Parquet data format. So the synergy happens. I hope all this makes sense. Yes. So in the previous slide, it is, I have mentioned, like, each customer, sorry, each department will be having will be using different services over the same data copy. And in this example, it will be very clear, in this slide it will be very clear that the same department might also use more than one service via different tools, but it is going to be on top of one single copy of data. Okay, so there is no need to no need of import or export between different services. Simply say, you can choose the right engine for the right job, your team. So yeah, we spoke about OneLake and Delta Lake format, right? So Delta Lake is nothing but the Parquet Delta tables, which are available as Parquet file format. So that is what it is called as Delta Lake format. Now recently, uh, Fabric has announced that Iceberg format tables is also supported. And of course, Fabric has expanded its partnership with Snowflake, because Snowflake is predominantly being used by many companies for their data warehouse purpose. Especially, it handles the once again the compute in terms of pay as you go model in a more fine-tuned fashion. So many companies have started using Snowflake. So what Microsoft Fabric has did is, you can mirror Snowflake data in Microsoft Fabric, and once again you will be able to have single place of governance. Okay, I'll show as a demo in a moment of time. So yeah, as we all see, Databricks is already available in Azure, which you all know. Microsoft Fabric, which is already there, and Snowflake is being partnered recently. So as a single OneLake, all these software utilities are being made better together, so that it can be governed better. Yeah, so this is a simple screenshot where you can see that different databases in Snowflake, that are available as mirrored data in uh, Microsoft Fabric as well. So as you could see here, as a mirrored data, once the mirror is created, the semantic model and the SQL Analytics endpoint has been created. I'll also show this as demo, but just if you could see that in Snowflake, once you create a database, you just need to select it as whether to use iceberg tables or not. And while you turn on, you just need to select the cloud provider. So once you give it as Microsoft Fabric, and once it is created, you can simply select the table name, right? So, and by default, you would be able to see the Fabric workspace as well once it has been connected. Yeah. Now the data has been loaded. So in Fabric, you'll be able to see that this Snowflake database has been mirrored automatically, because since the connection has been established already, this particular table has been synchronized automatically, right? So you are able to see the Snowflake data in Microsoft Fabric. So how this is happening is, you'll be able to select the create a mirror, which I'll also show you in the uh, as a demo in the upcoming time. So there is another new feature which is called as shortcuts, which is as simple as how I explained earlier. In Windows, if we are having one copy of data, one copy of file, or one copy of folder with a set of files, you'll be able to create a shortcut in desktop or in any other place, right? So same way, in Microsoft Office also, you can create shortcuts of not only within the OneLake's workspaces. As you could see, within the workspace, you can create from warehouse to lakehouse, from workspace B to workspace A, likewise vice versa. Not only for, between workspaces within OneLake, you can also create shortcuts from external storage mediums as well, as you could see S3, Google Cloud Storage, uh, Dataverse, Amazon Redshift, and Azure SQL database. And beyond that, it is also possible that certain on-premises sources also is being supported. So once again, it is all going to be no data movements are going to happen. It is all going to be a shortcut. So it's going to be one single storage. Once again, OneLake provides this feature to have one single copy of data, even that could be in Amazon S3, that need not be moved into OneLake, but just the um, the shortcut creation is fine, right? So once the shortcut is created as a single place of storage in OneLake, you'll be allowed to use any of these services over that copy of data. Sorry, over that reference of data. So as you could see, this is an on-prem scenario where just by giving, sorry, not on-prem, Amazon S3 compatible scenario. So just by enabling the shortcut in Fabric, you will be able to see the S3 data in from within Microsoft Fabric itself. So this is a very vital feature in my opinion, because in companies, not all the data sources are provided access to all the people, right? Whereas certain data sources might need to be shared to certain people who need to analyze on that, right? So in this case, once the tenant admin creates such a share, S3 share into Microsoft Fabric, he can simply share the S3 data from within Fabric itself, right? He don't want to share the S3 at all, S3 storage space at all. So this actually, if you could see, uh, the governance is also made simple. So yeah, not just as a set of files, you'll also be able to see as as the tables as well, and all the shortcut created data tables, you'll be able to see as a dotted lines, right? So these dotted lines on top of each table, what it shows is all these are not really present within, really stored within OneLake, but they are nothing but shortcuts being referred from other data sources, data sources. Okay. So, yeah, in a nutshell, you'll be able to understand that these are the new sources which are now available as public, but unfortunately I haven't got access in my tenant, so I couldn't show as an extensive demo. So but you'll be able to create shortcuts from any of these external data sources into the OneLake. Yeah, and as I mentioned during my initial during while I was starting the session, all roads lead to OneLake, creating data gravity into OneLake, right? So all the features, all the what to say, the enablements are being built around OneLake, right? Because data is all important, and all other thing comes next to that. But the major problem which enterprises face now is multiple copies of data, difficult to govern, and yeah, more and more orphan data is coming into picture. So how to avoid that? So that's where this whole picture says all about. Now I'll, after this show, I'll quickly show a couple of this mirroring, and then we'll come back to the slide. So if I could open this, yes. So when you click on this create, you'll be able to see something like mirroring, right? So mirrored Azure SQL database, mirrored Snowflake, mirrored Azure Cosmos DB. Now let me show one by one. Okay. So first let me show the Azure, mirrored Snowflake. So I do have this Snowflake data where you could see the tasty bite sample data is there, and within raw POS, not under public, yeah. Now within raw POS, there is a table called as menu, right? So this menu data, and I could able to see the in Snowflake. So that is fine. Now there is a situation I might not be able to share access of the Snowflake to one of my colleague. So what the tenant admin does is tenant admin creates a mirror Snowflake mirror connection within Microsoft Fabric, and this connection is being provided access to the persons. So I have already created this mirror connection, and it is just showing up here. So yeah, it is loading up. It would take some time. But it is as simple as what you see here, like the this particular server name, and this particular database, this particular schema, this particular table, you will be able to see over here. Okay, so as you see here, Snowflake tasty bite sample data. So there are three databases. One is Snowflake sample data, tasty bite sample data. So for this mirroring, it need to be the database need to be present within Snowflake. So as you could see, there is a small symbol, right? So this indicates that this is already a shared database in this Snowflake. Okay, whereas this is the actual database which I created in Snowflake. So that is why this particular Snowflake sample data is not applicable for mirroring, because that is already a shared database from another Snowflake to this Snowflake. Okay, whereas these two are able to be selected. So now if I select on this, it will be showing up. Okay, it is asking me to connect. Once I connect, it will be showing me all the tables that are present in that database. So in this case, it is going to be one single table, which is nothing but the raw POS menu, and also simply I can select all and connect. And also what I can do is automatically mirror future tables. Any new tables to the source will be replicated to the destination. If I check on this, all the future tables which I create in this Snowflake portal under this particular database will be mirrored into will be mirrored, which means will be made available to access in Fabric as well. Okay, so this is the first thing. Next, what I'm going to show is I'll quickly jump onto the another tab to show you the Cosmos DB. So right now I have my Cosmos DB, and as you could see in the Data Explorer, I have to-do list and there is items collection over here, right? So yeah, so there is an items collection. So there is a set of data over here, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a mirror of this particular Azure Cosmos DB into Fabric. Now I go back to this tab. So once again, I have selected Azure Cosmos DB mirror, where as you could see, you already have this connection. I'm going to just click on that, and it will be listing me all the database available in that connection. So creating a connection is again fairly straightforward. You have to give the server name. You have to give the. I can even show it over here. So I just close it. Yeah. So creating a connection, you just need to select the respective data source. Need to give the relevant information to create that connection. Server name, warehouse name, and it will be created as new connection, and the authentication kind which you have enabled in the respective data source. Here in Snowflake, I have the basic authentication to give the username and password. Now let us, this is what the same applicable for other data sources as well, which is Snowflake, Cosmos DB, and SQL DB. Now let me go to the Cosmos DB, and yes, I'm able to see the database Cosmos DB. And once I click on connect, same way it will be picking up all the collections over here, and I can simply choose and select those connections and simply connect it. Likewise, I do have an Azure SQL database where you could see that in this DKP89 server, DKP89 DB, the Azure SQL database, there are three tables: mining data, persons, and sample data. So let us see how this can be mirrored in Fabric. So same way, I have already created a connection for this demo purpose. And as you could see that, I'm able to see all the tables being fetched over here. And once I click on connect, it will be connecting. It will be created. The mirror will be created, right? So now I'll go back to the slides. So we just saw the mirroring capability of Azure Cosmos DB, Azure SQL DB, and the Snowflake as well. This that is not updated in this slide anyway. Yeah. So yeah, what we are able to see now is the problem statements was predominant in all the industries. As you could see, how do I unify all the disparate sources of data into one single source of truth, right? There will be one data admin or chief data officer whose worry is that there are multiple copies of data. How can I make it as one single source of truth so that all the people who can access the data can be provided same copy of data? So that is a major problem, which we are able to see that it is getting addressed with OneLake. And second thing is, how do I improve democratization of data and insights with easy to use analytics tools? So, okay, single source of truth is fine, but how to democratize it? How people will be able to discover that data is available or not, right? So, data discovery problem, data cataloging. So, how come a single dashboard? Let's assume that a Power BI dashboard is there. If something is not working, then the Power BI dashboard should be able to what to say should be able to show that the downstream connections on top of what this Power BI dashboard is created. This Power BI dashboard is created on top of this particular reference. This particular reference is nothing but Azure SQL database, and this Azure SQL database is present in a different tenant, and it is mirrored into Fabric. Likewise, this downstream pathway is all important, right? So that is so important. And another thing is how to enable faster decision making with scale while also optimizing governance and cost, right? So There are different tools in market that specifically focuses for data catalog, data governance, ETL, data warehouse, and visualization. But different tools, of course, once again, there are more chances of data silos might be happening, and not just there. As it is mentioned here, governance is also a major problem, right? So, but whereas in Fabric, with the help of OneLake, it is going to be one single copy of data accessible across multiple services, and also everything is being tracked, right? So yeah, once again, this is just a very simple summary. Copilot and Fabric, it is not fully released, I hope. Once it is being released, the future is going to be amazing, because Co- Copilot, of course, the basic is all about chat, right? So when we are able to do something with natural language chat, either it is a data analyst or a data scientist or a BI developer, it is going to be a cakewalk for them to do their job, right? So that helps to achieve more in less amount of time. Yeah, I think mirroring, we have just saw this as a demo. Azure Cosmos DB, Azure SQL DB, and Snowflake. So Microsoft Fabric, of course, it is gaining momentum, which I can say definitely. It has already have 11,000 plus paying customers, and you can also check out this link to check out the Fabric release plans, what is coming up next. And yeah, if you want to try out by yourself, you can always avail this 60-day free trial. No credit card is required, and no Azure subscription is required. You will be provided with the F64 SKU uh, to use during this free trial period. Yeah, so please check out these two resources to know more about Fabric. Yeah, and this is just an announcement of Fabric learning and inspiration, which is happening in person in Stockholm, Sweden. So if you want any kind of more resources or something, you can check out this link to get more. And I'll also share one another thing. So if you want to have more access or more knowledge about this unifying your data with OneLake, uh, you can watch out this particular session from Microsoft Build 2024. So in this particular session, these two product managers would have explained almost all the concepts which we covered, and beyond that as well. So you'll be able to get more information. So with that, I think I'm done for today. If there is any question, we can take up. Rashmika?
Thank you so much, Dinesh. I think we are good for now. We don't have any questions, but yes, we can give it a minute or so. Also, folks, I have shared Dinesh social handle in the chat. In case if you have questions later, please feel free to reach out to him, or you can reach out to me as well. I will probably, take those questions and redirect to Dinesh, or please feel free to reach out to him directly. But yeah, thank you so much, Dinesh, for hosting this session, and thank you all for joining us today. Please visit Microsoft Reactor website for more upcoming session. Feel free to use the Learn module link. This will give you access to additional resources to take your learning further. Thank you all once again, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, Dinesh.
Thank you, Rashmika. Can I